And in international news, Britain's economy returns to growth in the first quarter of the year as many try and calculate the economic boost of the royal wedding, which takes place tomorrow. Retail researcher Verdict estimates the royal wedding will be worth over £600 million in spending. Problem, though, is that it takes place on the second consecutive long holiday weekend in Britain. That disruption is forecast to cost more than £5 billion. Meanwhile, the latest figures from the Office for National Statistics show that Britain's GDP grew 0.5% in the first quarter after dropping by exactly that amount in the last 3 months of 2010. George Osborne, Britain's finance minister, sees the growth figure as a sign of recovery.
You see countries dealing with very high budget deficits, and we've got one of the highest, but I think that reinforces our determination to stick to the course, and the economy is growing, and that's good news.
Once the festivities have finished, the difficult economic climate, though, remains. British businesses continue to suffer a lack of confidence, according to the latest quarterly economic survey by the London Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
The lack of confidence does come from no cash. Cash flow is king in a small firm, particularly if you haven't got the confidence in that, you haven't got the confidence to invest either.
Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke ushered in a new era of transparency with his first ever live scheduled press conference, but stick to an old script, signaling interest rates in the US are not heading higher anytime soon. Bernanke took center stage at the first ever post-FOMC briefing as part of his efforts to increase transparency. When asked to clarify the often used term extended period to describe that he plans to maintain historically low interest rates, he answered,
extended period suggests that there would be a couple of meetings probably before action, but unfortunately the reason we use this vaguer terminology is that we don't know with certainty how quickly response will be required, and therefore we will do our best to communicate changes in our view, but that will depend entirely on how the economy evolves.
Interest rates remain at historic lows of close to zero and are likely to stay there. That puts pressure on the dollar as other central banks tighten their monetary policy. But Bernanke believes signs of inflation, which are mainly in energy, are transitory, while at the same time expressing empathy for cash-strapped Americans forced to pony up at the pump.
Higher gas prices are absolutely creating a great deal of financial hardship for a lot of people. Gas, of course, is a necessity. People need to drive to get to work. So it's obviously a very bad development to see gas prices rise so much. Higher gas prices, higher oil prices also make economic developments less favorable. On the one hand, obviously, the higher gas prices add to inflation. On the other hand, by draining purchasing power from households, higher gas prices are also bad for the recovery. They cause growth to decline as well. So it's a double whammy.
A growing number of foreign fast food chains and cafes have their sights on India, where growth in the sector is estimated to reach between 25% and 30% a year. Starbucks, for instance, is expected to open its first Indian store in July or August. Others wanting a foothold in Asia's third largest economy include Applebee's, Polo Tropical and hamburger chain Johnny Rockets. Or take McDonald's. The US company has 211 restaurants in India with over 250,000 customers visiting its outlets every day. The burger chain's Indian franchisee plans to set up 30 new restaurants in the southern and western parts of India this year. Industry experts say patience and flexibility in a country where dietary traditions rule may well define successful global restaurant brands in India. Nokia will cut 7,000 jobs or 12% of its phone unit workforce and also outsource its legacy Symbian activities to reduce costs by €1 billion. Reason being that the Finnish company struggles to compete in the fierce smartphone market. The mobile phone giant will lay off 4,000 workers and outsource a further 3,000 to Accenture as part of its plan to slash spending by €1 billion a year. Nokia is still the world's largest handset manufacturer by volume, but has been rapidly losing market share in the lucrative high end of the market. In February, Nokia unveiled a strategic partnership with Microsoft to help reverse that slide and cut costs. That means its future phones will use Windows rather than its own Symbian software. Before we head back to news, let's take a quick look at the Asian equity, commodity and the currency markets, and after that, Mona Nasser is back with the news.